The knife slipped from my hand and clattered against the kitchen tile, its blade catching the fluorescent light like a sliver of shattered glass. "We're gay, Mom. Both of us?" Ben said, his voice cracking like thunder over Lake Erie, while I stood frozen beside him, our identical blue eyes locked on her face as the world tilted sideways. In that split second, before she even blinked, I knew. Our twin bond, forged in secret whispers and shared heartbreaks, was about to fracture under the weight of words we'd rehearsed 1,000 times in the mirror. It was a humid July evening in 2015, the kind that sticks to your skin like regret, in our family's cramped ranch house on the outskirts of Sandusky, Ohio. Ben and I were 22, fresh out of community college with associate degrees in graphic design that felt about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. We'd grown up in the shadow of Cedar Point, the roller coaster capital of the world, where screams of thrill seekers drowned out the quiet ones from kids like us. Different, watchful, always scanning the horizon for a sign we weren't alone. Our mom, Linda, was a part-time waitress at the local diner, her laugh as bright as the neon sign out front, but her edges worn thin from Dad's long hauls as a trucker, gone weeks at a time. Dad, well, he was the type who fixed things with duct tape and believed real men didn't cry, or question, or love who they loved. We'd planned it meticulously. Ben, with his easy grin and that reckless spark in his eye, had been the one to push for it. "No more hiding, Alex," he'd said the night before, sprawled on my twin bed in our shared room, the walls plastered with sketches of superheroes we'd drawn as kids, heroes who always saved each other. "We're twins, man. If we go down together." I'd nodded, my stomach twisting like the Millennium Force coaster we'd ridden 100 times, terrified of the drop but craving the rush. Coming out felt like that, the free fall before the track caught you. Mom's face crumpled first into confusion, then something sharper. Disappointment? Fear? She set down her coffee mug with a deliberate slowness, the steam curling up like unspoken accusations. "Both of you? Jesus, boys. What did I do wrong?" Her voice was a whisper, but it hit like a slap. Ben flinched, his hand brushing mine under the table. A secret Morse code we'd invented as kids. "I'm here. Hold on." I squeezed back, but my throat burned. "It's not about you, Mom," I managed, my words tumbling out rehearsed but ragged. "It's us. We've known for years. We can't pretend anymore." Ben jumped in, his voice steadier than mine, painting it with the optimism he wore like armor. He talked about the parades we'd watched on TV, the stories from online forums, how it was okay now, how America was changing. Obergefell had just passed that summer, the Supreme Court ruling echoing like a promise. Love is love, even in Ohio. She listened, her knuckles white around the mug, and then, miracle of miracles, she reached across the table. "Okay," she said, her eyes welling up. "Okay, my boys. If this is you, we'll figure it out. Together." Ben's face lit up like the Ferris wheel at dusk, and he pulled her into a hug that swallowed us both. I joined in, the three of us a tangled mess of tears and relief, the kitchen smelling of burnt toast and fresh possibility. For the first time, I felt seen, not as half of Ben, but as Alex, whole and wanted. But Dad? He rolled in 2 days later, his rig parked crooked in the driveway, grease-streaked flannel smelling of diesel and denial. We waited until dinner, the four of us around the formica table with meatloaf cooling untouched. Ben went first again, brave as ever. "Dad, we gotta tell you something." The words hung there, heavy as the humidity pressing against the windows. Dad's fork paused mid-air, his gray eyes narrowing under bushy brows. "Spit it out, son." Ben did, and I echoed, our voices overlapping like a duet we'd practiced in the shower. Strong, unapologetic. For a heartbeat, silence. Then Dad's laugh barked out, low and disbelieving. "Gay? Both of ya? Come on, that's a joke, right? Tired from the road, messing with your old man." "It's not a joke," Mom interjected, her voice fierce, a mama bear I'd never seen before. "They're our sons, Tom. This is who they are." Dad's face darkened, the veins in his neck bulging like overfilled hoses. He slammed his fist down, the table shaking. Bullshit. You're confused. Boys don't. You ain't boys no more if that's what you're saying. He turned to Ben, the one who'd always been his favorite, the athlete, the charmer. You especially, Benjamin. What the hell's this? Ben shrank, his shoulders hunching like he'd been punched. I saw it then, the first crack, our twin mirror shattering. Dad, please, Ben started, but Dad was on his feet, chair scraping back like nails on a chalkboard. Out. Get out of my sight till you come to your senses. He stormed to the garage, the door slamming behind him like a guillotine. Mom followed, her sobs trailing like exhaust fumes. Ben and I sat there, the meatloaf congealing, our hands clasped under the table. Hold on. But for the first time it felt like clutching at smoke. That night, Ben packed a duffel. I'm crashing at Jake's, he muttered, his eyes red-rimmed but defiant. Jake was our old high school buddy, the straight one who'd stuck by us through everything. You stay, Alex. Mom needs you. I protested, but he waved me off. Nah, you're the steady one. Always have been. He hugged me tight, our foreheads pressing together like when we were kids hiding from thunderstorms. We got this. Twins forever, right? Twins forever, I whispered back. But as his truck taillights faded down the gravel road, I wondered if forever was just another coaster drop, thrilling until the crash. The weeks blurred into a fragile normalcy. Mom threw herself into support mode, dragging me to PFLAG meetings in Toledo, where middle-aged folks in pastel sweaters swapped stories over weak coffee. You're brave, Alex, she'd say, squeezing my hand in the minivan on the way home, Cedar Point's silhouette glowing against the stars. Your brother's gonna come around. But Ben's texts grew sporadic. Staying at Jake's another week. Dad still pissed? I'd lie, say things were fine, send memes of roller coasters with captions like hold on tight. He laughed in emojis, but I could feel the distance creeping in, like sand shifting underfoot at the lakeshore. Work kept me grounded, or at least distracted. I landed a gig at a local print shop, designing flyers for county fairs and bait shops. It was mindless, but it paid the rent on the tiny apartment Mom helped me snag above the hardware store downtown. Freedom tasted like stale pizza and late-night sketches, but loneliness was the undercurrent, pulling me under. That's when I met Ryan. It was at the Sandusky Library's open mic night, a bi-monthly affair squeezed into the community room with folding chairs and a microphone that hummed like a hive. I'd gone to drown out the quiet, armed with a notebook of half-baked poems about hidden selves. Ryan was up first, tall, lanky, with a mop of blonde curls and glasses that slipped down his nose as he strummed his guitar. His voice, God, it wrapped around you like a Cedar Point fog, low and earnest, singing about lost highways and hearts that wouldn't stay fenced in. The crowd, a mix of retirees and college kids home for summer, clapped politely, but I was hooked, applauding until my palms stung. Afterward, he lingered by the snack table, picking at a cookie like it held secrets. You write? He asked, nodding at my notebook. His eyes were green, flecked with gold, like the first leaves turning in Huron County. Try to, I said, heat creeping up my neck. You sing like you've lived 1,000 miles. He laughed, a sound like waves lapping the breakwater. Only 500 so far. Name's Ryan. Grew up in Cleveland, chasing gigs. You, Alex, local boy born and raised. Twins with my brother, but he's figuring stuff out. We talked until the librarian flicked the lights, about music and art, the ache of small-town dreams. He bought me a coffee at the all-night diner afterward, and by dawn we'd swapped numbers, his hand brushing mine across the booth. A spark that lit something dormant. Dating Ryan was like stepping off the Midway into the Midway lights. Dizzying, alive. Our first real date was at Pipe Creek, picnicking on the rocky beach with subs from Ernie's and a thermos of iced tea. He spread out a blanket, the Lake Erie breeze tousling his curls, and pulled out a sketch pad. Your turn, he said. Draw me like one of your French boys. I snorted, but obliged, my pencil capturing the curve of his jaw, the way his smile tilted left. He drew me too. Fierce eyes, I joked, but he said serious, like a storm waiting to break. We kissed there, salt on our lips from the lake spray, his hand cupping my face gentle as a prayer. It wasn't fireworks. It was steady glow, the kind that warms you through Ohio winters. Ben noticed the shift when he finally came home for Mom's birthday barbecue. He'd shacked up longer at Jake's, picking up shifts at the amusement park to make ends meet. He looked thinner, shadows under his eyes like bruises, but he forced a grin when he clapped me on the back. "Who's the glow, bro?" "Spill." Over hot dogs charred on the Weber, I told him about Ryan, cautious at first, then spilling details like confetti. Ben listened, nodding, but his laugh was edged. "Lucky you. Mom's got her golden boy all sorted." He glanced at Dad, who hovered by the grill, flipping burgers with mechanical precision, avoiding our eyes. "It's not like that," I said, but the words felt hollow. Mom had started leaving PFLG pamphlets on Ben's old dresser, whispering to me about giving him space. "Dad?" He grunted hellos now, but the air between him and Ben crackled like a live wire. That night, after the cake and sparklers fizzled out, Ben cornered me in the garage, the air thick with oil and old tools. "You got the fairy tale, Alex." "Ryan." "Mom's hugs." "Hell, even Dad asks about your job now." His voice cracked, fists clenched around a wrench. "Me? I'm the punchline, the one who doesn't fit the script." "You're not." I started, but he cut me off. "Save it. Just don't forget me when you're off in your perfect life." He stormed out, the door banging like a verdict. I stood there, wrench abandoned, the twin thread pulling taut, then snapping. Fall crept in with crimson leaves and chill winds off the lake, turning our world brittle. Ryan and I deepened. Weekend drives to Cleveland for indie films at the Capitol, where we'd sneak kisses in the dark, his fingers laced through mine like lifelines. He met Mom over pot roast, charming her with stories of his barista days and dreams of scoring films. "He's a keeper," she whispered later, eyes misty. Dad even thought a degree, grumbling approval over my steady gig, while pretending Ben was just away at college. But Ben spiraled. His texts turned cryptic. Nailed a tattoo apprenticeship in Toledo. "Don't wait up." Then radio silence for days. When he resurfaced, it was with a photo, him inked up, a fresh sleeve of waves and anchors, grinning too wide. "Living free," the caption read. I called, left voicemails that echoed unanswered. Ryan noticed, pulling me close on my lumpy couch. "Your brother's hurting, babe. You can't fix him alone." "I know," I murmured into his neck, but guilt gnawed like lake erosion. We were twins, two halves of one soul. How could I shine when he dimmed? The fracture widened at Thanksgiving. Mom insisted on full spread. Turkey brining, pies cooling, the good china unearthed. Ben showed late, smelling of smoke and strangers, his eyes glassy. Dad took one look and retreated to the TV, football blaring like a barrier. Dinner was a minefield, polite stabs at conversation detonating into silences. Ben pushed peas around his plate, then dropped the bomb. "I'm moving to Chicago. Got a spot lined up with a design firm. Starting fresh." Mom's fork clattered. "Chicago? Honey, that's so far." "Far from what?" Ben snapped, his voice venom-laced. "This," he gestured wildly, encompassing the table, "us. Where I'm the family freak? You're not." I tried, but Dad's growl cut through. "Boy, if you're running, 'cause you can't man up." "Man up." Ben shoved back his chair, face flushing crimson. "Like you? Pretending everything's fine while you freeze me out? Alex gets the hugs, the proud papa bullshit. But me? I'm the mistake." Dad rose, towering. "Watch your mouth." "Enough." Mom cried, but Ben was already bolting, coat flapping like a cape. I chased him into the yard, frost crunching underfoot, the string lights twinkling mockingly. "Ben, wait. Don't do this." He whirled, tears carving tracks down his cheeks. "Do what? Survive? You got the easy out, Alex. The support squad. Me? I get scraps." His words sliced deeper than any coaster plunge. Betrayal burned in his eyes. Not just Dad's, but mine. For thriving where he drowned. Ben, please. We're twins. We fix this together. Together. He laughed bitterly, breath fogging the air. That died at the table. Go back to your boyfriend, your life. I'm done being your shadow. He climbed into his truck, engine roaring to life, taillights vanishing into the night like a severed cord. I stood there, numb, the cold seeping into my bones. Ryan found me later, wrapping me in his coat, whispering, "He'll come back. Love like yours doesn't break easy." But as snow flurried down, blanketing the yard in white, I wondered if some bonds were meant to bend until they snapped. Winter clamped down hard that year, ice locking the lake like a frozen secret. Ryan and I hunkered in my apartment, fortifying with hot cocoa and his playlists. Bon Iver for the ache, the Lumineers for the fight. He saw me through the numb days, when Ben's absence echoed louder than Cedar Point's roar in summer. We'd walk the boardwalk, hands zipped in his pocket against the wind, talking dreams. Him scoring an indie flick about lost brothers, me illustrating a graphic novel on twin souls adrift. "You're my anchor," he'd say, kissing my temple, and for stolen moments, I believed it. But guilt festered. Mom aged visibly, her diner shifts dragging longer, eyes scanning every patron for Ben's face. Dad buried himself in routes, his rig a rolling confessional he never shared. I drove to Toledo twice, staking out the tattoo shop, a gritty hole in the wall with buzzing neon and skulls etched in the window. The second time, I caught a glimpse. Ben inking a client's bicep, focused, alive in a way that twisted my gut. He looked up, our eyes locking through the glass. Mirror images, strangers now. He turned away, and I drove home empty-handed. Christmas was a ghost. Mom strung lights half-heartedly, the tree tilting like our family. Ryan came, bearing pie and patience, but when Dad muttered, "Where's the other one?" Over eggnog, the room iced over. "Chicago," I said tightly. Dad nodded, jaw set. "Good riddance if he's throwing his life away." "Tom," Mom warned, but he waved her off, retreating to the garage. Ryan squeezed my knee under the table, "Hold on." But Ben's code felt stolen. New Year's, Ryan and I escaped to Cleveland, fireworks bursting over the river like false promises. We danced in a dive bar, his body warm against mine, the crowd a blur of acceptance. "To us," he toasted with cheap champagne, clinking bottles, and to Ben finding his way. I kissed him fierce, tasting hope, but dawn brought a voicemail that shattered it. Ben's voice, slurred and small. "Miss you, bro. Chicago's. It's not home. Dad was right. I'm sorry." I called back frantic, but it went to voicemail. Texts pinged unread. Ryan held me as I paced, murmuring, "Go get him. You're the twin, he needs you." Mom wired bus fare. Dad silent but slipping me 100 with a gruff, "Bring the boy back." I boarded Greyhound at dawn, the Midwest blurring past. Corn stubble under snow, billboards for Jesus and casinos. Heart hammering like a drum solo. Chicago hit like a blizzard. Wind howling off the loop, skyscrapers clawing the gray sky. Ben's address was a walk-up in Wicker Park, buzzer peeling like old paint. No answer. I waited in the lobby, sketching his face on a napkin to steady my hands. Same sharp cheekbones, same haunted eyes. Hours later, he stumbled in, coat dusted with bar confetti, reeking of gin and regret. "Alex!" His voice broke, key fumbling the lock. We crashed into his studio apartment. Third floor walk-up, walls alive with sketches and ink stains, a futon sagging under laundry. He collapsed onto it, head in hands. "What the fuck are you doing here?" "Saving us?" I said, dropping my bag. "Like we always do." He laughed, hollow. "Us? There is no us. You got the life, Ryan, Mom's pride. I got this." He waved at the chaos. Empty bottles, a guitar gathering dust. "Dad hates me. Hell, I hate me." "Dad doesn't hate you," I lied, sitting beside him, our shoulders brushing like tentative bridges. "He's scared, like we all were." Ben's sob escaped, raw and ragged. Coming out was supposed to free us. Together. But you soared and I crashed. Tears streamed, and he leaned into me, twin weight familiar as breath. I held him, rocking like Mom had us as kids, whispering nonsense about coasters and second chances. We talked till dawn filtered through grimy blinds, about the parlor's whispers, the hookups that left him hollow, the nights staring at the L trains rumbling past, wishing for Sandusky's simplicity. I betrayed you, he confessed, voice muffled in my shirt. By pulling away, by letting the hate win. No, I said fierce. We both did. But twins don't quit. We rebuild. He nodded, spent, and for the first time in months our hands clasped, hold on solid. The ride home was quiet, Ben dozing against my shoulder, Chicago fading like a bad dream. Mom wept when we pulled up, enveloping him in flour-dusted arms from pie baking. Dad lingered in the doorway, arms crossed, but when Ben mumbled, "Sorry, Dad," he uncrossed them, pulling him into a bare hug that smelled of motor oil and absolution. "Missed you, son," he grunted, voice thick. No more words needed. The fracture mended in that grip. Spring thawed us slow. Ryan met Ben over beers at the local pub. Their banter easy. Music nerds bonding over Springsteen bootlegs. Ben started at the print shop with me, our desks side by side, sketching campaigns that bled our shared style. Bold lines, hidden depths, dates with Ryan turned doubles. The four of us hiking Hocking Hills, laughing over campfires as stars wheeled overhead. One evening, post-shift, Ben and I sat on the old porch swing, creaking under our weight. Fireflies danced like errant sparks, the lake a distant murmur. "We made it," he said, nudging my shoulder. "Barely," I replied, grinning. "But yeah, twins forever." He linked his pinky with mine, the kid code evolved. Forever. And hey, thanks for the save. Ryan joined us then, settling on my other side, his hand finding mine in the dusk. Mom watched from the kitchen window, silhouette soft against the light, Dad's arm around her waist. A tableau of quiet victories. Betrayal had carved us deep, conflict storming like Lake Erie gales. But love, the deep, humanistic kind, had weathered it. Not perfect, not fairy tale, but real. Two halves, whole again, rolling forward like the coasters we'd conquered. As summer hummed in, Cedar Point calling with its screams and spins, I realized the true thrill wasn't the drop. It was the climb back up together. Life post-reunion wasn't a straight track. It looped and dipped like the gatekeeper, testing our rebuilt rails. Ben threw himself into work with a fervor that bordered on manic, churning out designs for everything from craft beer labels to county fair banners. His tattoos peaked from rolled sleeves, conversation starters that drew clients in, tales of waves symbolizing resilience, anchors for the storms we'd weathered. I envied his fire sometimes, that raw energy masking the scars. Mine burned steadier, fueled by Ryan's quiet constancy and the rhythm of our days. Ryan and I marked 6 months with a weekend in Put-in-Bay, the island playground off the Ohio coast where golf carts zipped like escaped bumper cars. We rented a cottage overlooking the bay, its porch strung with hammocks that swayed in the breeze off Perry's Victory Monument. Days blurred into kayaking tours, paddles slicing teal water, evenings into bonfires where he'd strum originals. Lyrics laced with us that made my chest ache sweet. "This is it, Alex," he'd say, tracing my palm with his thumb. The real deal. Nights we'd tangle slow under quilts smelling of salt and pine, his whispers mapping futures. A house with a studio, collabs on his film scores illustrated by me. No rush, no pressure, just possibility, blooming like the wild roses climbing the cottage trellis. Ben texted midway, "Don't drown in romance. Bro, save some for the family picnic." I laughed, snapping a selfie of us sunburned and sandy. Caption: "Jealous?" Back home, the picnic was Mom's bid for normalcy. A sprawl in the backyard with potato salad wilting in the heat, Uncle Ray grilling brats till they split. Ben arrived with a date, surprise edition. "Meet Tyler," he announced, arms slung casual around a guy with a surfer's build and a shy smile, both in faded tees from some Cleveland music fest. Tyler was a sound tech. Met at a gig Ben had crashed post-Chicago. Mom fluttered, offering seconds. Dad clapped Tyler's shoulder with a welcome to the madhouse. Progress wrapped in flannel. I watched Ben across the checkered cloth, his laugh genuine for the first time in ages. Tyler's hand brushing his knee under the table. A mirror of Ryan and me. Pride swelled, twin sharp. Later, as kids chased frisbees and aunts gossiped about neighbors, Ben sidled up. Your boy's a keeper. Makes me think. Maybe I can have this too. You deserve it, I said, clinking his lemonade. All of it. But shadows lingered. Dad pulled Ben aside after pie, their heads bent by the garage, words too low to catch, but Ben's nod stiff, emerging with forced cheer. Old man's coming around. He muttered to me, but his eyes said otherwise. Caution, the old wound throbbing. Ryan sensed it too, over our next date. A drive-in screening of Call Me by Your Name under starry skies at the Mayhall's lot. As Timothy Chalamet swam into sun-dappled freedom, Ryan's fingers tightened in mine. Your family's healing, but it's messy. Like us. Beautiful mess. I kissed him in the truck cab, popcorn forgotten, the screen's glow painting us amber. Messy with you? Sign me up. Summer peaked in highs. Ben and Tyler solidifying. Double dates to Cedar Point where we dare the Maxer swings, stomachs flipping in sync. Ben sketched coasters mid-ride on napkins, Tyler filming for a vlog. Ryan and I plotted our own escape, a fall trip to the Smokies. Mom hosted game nights, Dad even joining Scrabble with grumbles that hid smiles. Felt like we'd summit view stretching endless. Then autumn whispered cracks. Tyler got a gig offer in Austin, 6 months touring with a band. It's huge, Ben confided over beers at the Rusty Bucket, foam clinging to his mustache like doubt. But leaving again? After Chicago. Go? I urged, though my gut twisted. This is your shot. Tyler's too. He stared into his pint, ripples settling. What if I lose him? Or you all, again? You won't. I gripped his arm, twin-packed. We're coasters, Ben. Up, down, but always on track. He nodded, but the decision hung heavy. 2 weeks later, airport drop-off. Ben and Tyler boarding for Texas, hugs fierce, promises of FaceTimes and holidays. Hold the fort, Ben said, ruffling my hair like kids. Their plane lifted off, and I drove home alone. Ryan's hand on my thigh a bomb, but the empty passenger seat echoed. Winter circled back, softer this time. No blizzards, just flurries dusting the pines. Ryan and I decorated my place. Tinsel on the ficus, lights strung haphazard. Ben called from a motel in Oklahoma, voice crackling. Tour's killer. Tyler's glowing. Miss you, though. Miss you more. Send pics of cowboy hats. Laughter bridged the miles, but holidays hit hollow. Mom's table set for ghosts, Dad quieter, toasting to the wanderers. Ryan filled gaps with stories, his family in Cleveland inviting us for New Year's. His sister grilling me on the twin tails, warm as hearthfire. Chipped at my isolation showed me love's net wide. January brought Ben's crisis. A 2 a.m. call. Alex, Tyler's out. Cheated on the road. I'm done. Sobs tore through static, my heart plummeting. Ryan drove me to the airport at dawn, kissing me fierce. Go. Fix your half. Chicago again, but daylight this time. Ben at a different dive, Wrigley shadows long. He looked wrecked. Unshaven, eyes hollowed. Flew back solo. Tour's toast. We holed up in an Airbnb, ordering Thai that went cold, him spilling. Tyler's text to an ex, the betrayal mid-Texas Dust Bowl. Thought I found my Ryan. Stupid. Not stupid, I said, arm around him on the sagging couch. Human. We binged old movies, The Goonies for nostalgia, Mikey and Mouth's Bond a stand-in for hours. Remember hiding in the backyard fort, plotting world domination? He chuckled wet. Yeah. Twins against the world. Still are. Rehabbing Ben took weeks. I commuted weekends. Ryan holding Sandusky down with understanding calls. Tell him Cleveland's got gigs if he wants. Mom baked care packages, Cookies stamped with your enough mailed express. Dad? A card arrived, scrawl blunt. Life's a highway. Straighten yours. Ben read it aloud, tears mixing with snort laughs. Progress. By March, Ben resurfaced. A freelance gig scoring local theater. Apartment in Cleveland's Tremont. Artsy brick row houses. Galleries humming. Tyler faded to footnote. Ben's sketches turning tender. Lovers under city lights, not waves crashing. He crashed at mine often, Ryan folding him in like family. Poker nights where Ben's bluffs cracked us up. Spring bloomed betrayal's echo, though. Dad's health dipped. Prostate scare. Scans pending. Mom called frantic. He won't talk. Acts like it's a flat tire. Ben and I tag-teamed. Me driving Dad to appointments. Ben handling the house chaos. In the waiting room, Dad gripped my knee. Proud of you boys. Even when I wasn't. Means everything, I said, throat tight. Ben, overhearing later, teared up. Old man's cracking his shell. Clean bill came, miracle, and family dinner sealed it. Dad raising a glass to my sons, the fighters. Ben's eyes met mine across the roast. We did it. But conflict brewed anew. Ryan's big break. Scoring a short film premiering at Tribeca. 2 weeks in New York, he said, excitement electric. Come if you can. Work chained me, deadline crunch. But Ben pushed, go, live. I did half trip. Met him in the village, cobblestones and cafes a whirlwind. Nights in his hotel, city pulsing outside, we dreamed bigger, joint move to Columbus, creative hub. You're my muse, he murmured, fingers in my hair. Back home, high faded fast. Ben announced his news. Dating again, a barista named Eli with dimples and dreams of graphic novels. Steady, like you said. Joy spiked, but under it a twinge. Our twin bubble thinning, lives diverging. Climax crested Memorial Day. Cedar Point outing. All of us, Mom, Dad, Ryan, Ben, Eli, tickets courtesy of a client win. Crowds swelled, coasters roaring. We queued for Steel Vengeance, adrenaline buzzing. At the summit, Ben leaned close. This is peak, huh? Family whole. Then, mid-plunge, Dad winced, clutching his chest. The drop blurred, screams masking panic. Medics swarmed base, ambulance wailing. Hospital confirmed. Heart episode, mild but warning. Mom shattered, Dad pale in the bed. Not ready to quit, he rasped. We rallied. Ben sketching get-well cards. Ryan curating playlists of Dad's old country tunes. Eli baked pies. I read trucker memoirs aloud. Vigil bound us. Betrayal's ghosts exorcised in beeps and broth. Discharge brought reflection. Dad pulled Ben and me aside in the driveway. Sunset gilding his face. I failed you boys. Coming out. Scared me shitless. Thought I'd lose you. But you saved me. Each other always. Forgiven, Ben said, hugging tight. I joined 3 men mending. Summer stretched golden. Conflicts resolved in small graces. Ryan's film acclaim leading to Columbus offer. We packed. Ben cheering from his Tremont perch. Eli and he talked rings casual, futures intertwined. One night, porch swing. Now Ryan beside me. Ben across with Eli, fireflies winking. To drops and rises. Ben toasted with root beer. To twins. I echoed. Humanity's arc. Not flawless, but forged in fire. Love's true coaster, endless track. Columbus welcomed us with urban pulse. Short north galleries buzzing. Scioto mile paths winding under willows. Ryan and I settled into a third-floor walk-up in German village. Cobblestone streets whispering history. Our place a sun-drenched nook with exposed brick and a bay window perfect for sketching. Mornings, coffee brewed strong, we'd plot. His laptop humming scores, my tablet blooming illustrations. This is us, he'd say, kissing my temple over toast. Building empires. Ben visited weekends, his Cleveland commute a breeze on I-71, Eli in tow often, couple goals with their easy sync, debating album art over brunches at Catalina's. Jealous, Ben teased once, watching Ryan and me bicker playfully over paint swatches for the walls. Nah, I grinned. Just plotting how to steal your thunder. Laughter sealed it, our bond elastic now, stretched but strong. Work flourished. Ryan's Tribeca buzz landed a Netflix pilot gig. Indie drama about estranged siblings. Irony not lost. He roped me in for concept art, our collab seamless. His melodies underscoring my visuals of fractured mirrors mending. Ben freelanced too, his style evolving. Tender portraits of queer families. Commissioned for a Pride exhibit in Akron. Human stuff, he called it, shipping prints to Mom for the diner wall. Family anchored us. Mom downsized the ranch house. Dad semi-retired to local halls. Their weekends now lake fishing. Photos of bass and grins flooding group chats. Your old man's hooked on this support gig, Mom joked during a video call. Dad waving a lure in background. Ben and I swapped stories post-call. Remember when he'd barely look at us? Ben mused, voice soft. Now he's baiting hooks for rainbows. Fall foliage tour sealed the shift. Ohio byways ablaze. Us piling into Dad's F-150 for leaf peeping and cider mills. Ryan charmed with trivia on Buckeye lore. Eli packed charcuterie that rivaled pros. At Hocking Hill's old man's cave, trails crunching underfoot, Dad clapped our backs. Couldn't ask for better crew. Ben's eyes misted, mine too, twin radar pinging silent thanks. But romance's rose tint hid thorns. Ryan's schedule ballooned. Late nights in studios, flights to LA for meetings. It's the dream, he'd assure, collapsing beside me with takeout. I'd nod, tracing his tired smile, but voids grew. Dinner solo, bed cold. Ben noticed over coffee at Fox in the snow. He's chasing stars. You're his gravity. It'll balance. Easy for you, I half-joked. Eli's glued to your hip. Ben's grin faltered. Yeah, well, glue sticks, but sometimes peels. He confessed later. Eli's wanderlust brewing, talks of backpacking Europe solo. Feels like Tyler Redux. We leaned in, twins troubleshooting, date nights enforced honest check-ins. Communication's the lube, Ben quipped, dodging my swat. It helped. Eli recommitted with a joint tattoo, tiny compasses. Ryan blocked calendar for us. Weekend in the Cuyahoga Valley, train rides and trail hikes where he'd serenade with originals. Voice weaving through birch groves. Thanksgiving anchored. Full house in Columbus. Mom's turkey rivaling pros. Dad carving with steady hand. Ben and Eli arrived bearing pies. Ryan's fam joined, sister roasting us over yams. Laughter echoed, conflicts dormant. Post-feast, porch, chilly now, blankets draped. Ben and I stepped out, stars pricking velvet sky. This life's the win, he said, breath fogging. After the mess. Damn right. Pinkies linked, code eternal. Winter whispered warnings, though. Ryan's pilot greenlit, production ramping. Months on location in Atlanta. Come visit, he begged at the airport, arms crushing. Every break. I will. Kiss lingered, his curls tickling my nose. Plane taxied, and loneliness loomed like storm clouds. Ben filled gaps. Sleepovers with Eli, board games, and bad movies. Proxy boyfriend, he'd tease, slinging arm around me during Rocky Horror sing-alongs. Eli laughed along, but one night, post-Netflix, Ben pulled me aside. Eli's going Europe for Real. Thinks we need space to grow. Gut punch. Ben. Same old script. His shrug masked hurt. But hey, twins stick, right? We stuck. Bar crawls in the arena district, drowning doubts in IPAs. Mom sensed, calling with pep. Boys like you? Magnets for good. Dad texted Ben a rare solo. Roads long, but home's waiting. Love ya, son. Spring sprouted renewal. Ryan jetted back for Easter, sweeping me to the Franklin Park Conservatory. Orchids exploding in conservatory heat, his hand warm in mine. Missed this, he murmured amid palms. Missed you. We recommitted ringside. No more drifts, schedules synced. Ben, meanwhile, dove into solo projects, a zine on queer resilience, pages raw with our story anonymized. Launch party in Cleveland drew crowds, Eli absent but echoes fading. Freedom's underrated. Ben toasted, eyes bright. I hugged him fierce amid cheers, proud, twin deep. Climax brood subtle. Dad's checkup flagged irregularity, heart stress, lifestyle pivot needed. No biggie, he blustered over phone, but Mom's voice quavered. Ben and I converged. Weekend in Sandusky, enforcing walks on the beach, Ryan tagging with meal prep apps. Dad grumbled but complied, our nagging a chorus he couldn't tune out. One dusk stroll, Lake Erie lapping gray, Dad halted. You boys saved me twice now. Oh you. Ben squeezed his shoulder. Family debt paid in full. I snapped a photo. 3 silhouettes against sunset, waves whispering absolution. Sent to Ryan healing tracks. Summer hummed content. Festivals in Columbus, Ben crashing for Comfest with his zine booth, Eli a memory mythologized. Ryan's rap party invite pulled us south. Peach orchards and porch swings, his arm around me under Georgia stars. After this, it's time. Europe, maybe with you. Heart soared. Back north, Ben met someone. Graphic designer at a con, sparks over shared panels. Cautious, he warned over beers. But hopeful. Hope laced our days, conflicts cauterized. Porch gatherings evolved, Eli out, new face, Javier tentative, kind. Mom's diner tales grew queer-inclusive, Dad's rig stickers sporting rainbow hitches. Betrayal's scar faded to silver. We'd betrayed selves once, in silence. Each other, in distance. Now romance bloomed mutual. Ryan scores my visuals, Ben's art echoing ours. Human arc curved gentle. Not tragedies plummet, but comedies rise. Love's coaster, crests conquered together. Autumn's palette deepened our grooves. Leaves carpeting German village like confetti from past parades. Ryan and I knee-deep in routine's bliss. His Netflix gig wrapped triumphant. Reviews buzzing haunting score. My illustrations licensed for merch. We celebrated with a mural in our hallway. Intertwined vines, symbols of roots and reach. His idea, my lines. Our story, he said, paint-speckled, kissing color from my cheek. Ben's Javier bloomed steady. Coffee dates to gallery hops, their styles meshing like puzzle fits. He's got that quiet fire, Ben gushed during a tailgate at the Buckeyes game. Foam fingers waving amid scarlet seas. Eli's ghost, banished to lesson learned. Ben's zine sequel chronicling rebounds with wry hope. Family fused tighter. Mom's birthday bash in Sandusky. Luau theme absurd but earnest. Tiki torches flickering on the lawn. Dad in a grass skirt grilling pineapple skewers, his idea, deadpan. Gotta keep up with you city folk. Ryan serenaded with ukulele covers. Javier charmed with salsa moves. Ben twirling him under strings lights. I caught Dad watching Ben. Nod subtle but proud, milestone marked. Yet undercurrents stirred. Ryan floated expansion. LA scouting for features. Not leaving, he assured, curled against me post-talk. Just horizons. Anxiety nipped. Echoes of Ben's flights, but trust tempered it. Horizons with you, I countered, sealing with slow kisses. Ben's turn for turbulence. Javier's visa snag. Artist from Mexico City. Green card limbo. Deportation shadow. Ben vented over whiskey at Jack's. Love him, but bureaucracy's a beast. Fight it, I urged, channeling our outcoming grit. We rallied, immigration lawyer referrals, crowdfunding for fees via his zine network. Mom baked tamales in solidarity. Dad donated trucker buddies contacts. Know a guy in customs. Javier stayed, provisional, their relief palpable in a group hike at Cuyahoga, waterfalls thundering approval. Winter wrapped us cozy. Ryan and I hosted solstice. Yule log crackling, friends circling with mulled wine. Ben and Javier arrived laden with ornaments, hand-carved from Ohio hardwoods. Traditions remix, Ben quipped, hanging a coaster miniature. Dad and Mom FaceTimed from a cruise, first ever, his retirement gift, tanned and teasing. Don't burn the house down without us. New Year dawned ambitious. Ryan scored a Sundance slot. I pitched a graphic novel to publishers, twin tales veiled as fiction. Ben's exhibit toured, Javier co-curating. Synchronicities sparked, joint project idea. A multimedia queer narrative, our trio's voices weaving. But betrayal's specter slunk back, sly. Dad's call mid-January. Routine check irregular again. Docs say monitor. Nonchalance cracked Mom's voice behind. Ben and I drove down, Ryan covering shifts. Hospital sterile, Dad jovial over Jell-O. False alarm, boys. Like that time I thought the rig broke down in Indy. Nah, just a loose belt. We didn't buy it. Post-discharge intervention. Cardiologist consults. Diet overhauls. Dad resisted. I'm a trucker, not a rabbit. But Ben's sketches of healthy dad cartoons softened him. Javier's recipes spicing compliance. Spring surged with Sundance. Ryan and I jetted to Park City, powder dusting boots, Premier's electric. Film lauded, his score nominated, after-party toasts clinking. To my muse, he whispered amid indie stars, pulling me to a quiet deck. Snowflakes melted on lashes. We dreamed aloud. Coastal cottage eventual. Ohio Heartland home base. Ben's text buzzed. Killed it? Jav and I celebrating with tacos. Dad's walking 5 Burmese chots now, miracle. Home to bloom. Graphic novel greenlit. Twins art core. Ben collabed on panels, Javier designing covers. Exhibit opening in Columbus. Gallery packed, pride flags fluttering. Dad showed, suit crisp, arm around Mom. Art boys, he beamed, clinking flutes. Proud as hell. Summer solstice circled. Bonfire in our backyard, friends and fam orbiting flames. Ryan strummed folk anthems. Ben recited zine excerpts, Javier translating verses. Dad shared trucking yarns, queer twists added gentle. Life's loads vary, he said, eyes on us. You carry 'em right. Fireflies ascended like prayers. Conflicts coals banked. Betrayal? Transmuted to fuel, outings pain-powering rises. Romance deepened. Ryan's ring hints in lyrics, Ben's with Javier in whispered vows. Climax crested subtle. A storm, literal. July gale ripping power lines, flooding basements. We hunkered, Ryan and me in candlelight, Ben/Javier crashing. Thunder rolled like unresolved chords. We shared stories, vulnerabilities bared. Scared I'll lose this, Ben admitted, rain lashing pains. Again. Won't, Ryan said, steady. We've mapped the drops. Dawn cleared, rainbow arching, promise etched. Cleanup bonded. Sandbagging, chainsawing limbs. Dad truck supplies, Mom soup brigade. Team, he grunted, mud-streaked. Post-storm, reflection porch. Beers chilled, sunset bleeding gold. We bend, don't break, Ben toasted. To arcs human, I added, Ryan's hand in mine. Love's narrative. Dramatic loops, suspense and turns, emotions raw, romantic in holds, humanistic in heels. Happy not flawless, but full twins tethered, forever ascending. The years unspooled like film reels, each frame capturing growth's quiet reel. Ryan and I married in a German village garden. Vows under arbor dripping wisteria. Ben best man with a speech that slayed. Twins no souls split once. Mine found its match in Alex's light, and yours, Ryan, doubled it. Dad walked me, grip firm. Mom dabbed tears, Javier filming for posterity. Rings exchanged simple. Steel bands etched with coasters' twists. Sealed with a kiss tasting of cake and forever. Ben followed suit. Courthouse quiet with Javier. Then vow renewal in Mexico City. Tequila toasts amid mariachi. Us zooming cheers from Columbus. Your turn to visit, Ben urged, Pyramid's backdrop. We did. Fall 23. Tacos streetside. Ruins whispering ancients' loves. Full circle, Ben said, arm around Javier. Our twins packed now quartet. Careers crested. My graphic novel debuted to acclaim. Echo's twin. Bestseller in LGBTQ+ lit. Panels of fractured bonds mending under Midwestern skies. Ryan scored the adaptation. Indie series greenlit for streaming. Ben's zines evolved to books. Javier co-authoring bilingual editions. Exhibits crossed coasts. We toured together, hotel happy hours dissecting critiques over craft brews. Family evolved tender. Dad's heart stabilized, yoga grudging, but daily. Mom's diner queer hub, ally flag proud. Grandkids entered via cousins. Dad doting with wooden trucks he'd carve. Spoil 'em right, he'd say, eyes twinkling at Ben and me. No shadows for these ones. Challenges came soft now. Ryan's LA pulls balanced with remote mixes, my deadlines sync to his. Ben's green card win for Javier sparked citizenship push. Bureaucracy's last jab parried with lawyers and love. Storms hit. A cousin's coming out echo, our story's scaffolding support. Dad's minor wreck, rig totaled but him unscathed, prompting full retirement to lakeside cabin. One autumn, crisis crested gentle. Mom's diagnosis, breast, early, treatable. We circled wagons. Chemo drives with Ben's playlists, Ryan's massages, Javier's healing teas. Dad held vigil stoic, us coaxing laughs with bad puns. Cancer's no coaster, Mom quipped bald and brave. But I've ridden worse drops. Remission rang bells. Family feast toasted her, scars badges. Betrayal's legacy, wisdom's vein. We'd betrayed silences once, conflicts born of fear. Now, vulnerability vaulted us. Romance rooted deep. Ryan and I adopting a rescue pup, walks dawn lit with leashes tangled. Ben and Javier fostering art workshops for queer youth. Safe spaces sown from our soils. Climax revisited in reflection. 20th birthday twins bash at Cedar Point. Private car on Blue Streak, wind whipping whoops. Mom and Dad front, Javier and Ryan flanking. Ben beside me as always. Summit pause. To the ride. Ben yelled, hand high-fiving mine. Plunge. Screams joy, stomach soaring. Drop conquered, track true. Evening fireworks burst, lakeside glow. Porch after, cabins now, creaky swing upgraded, stars wheeling. Dad raised flask. To boys who taught me love's no straight shot. Mom leaned in. Human as hell. Ryan kissed my temple. Javier murmured to Ben. Pinkies linked across laps, code complete. Ending humanistic. No tidy bow, but tapestry woven. Dramatic threads suspenseful. Emotional warps romantic. Wefts betrayal forged. Happy in hues. Twins tandem, supports shared. Lives laced light. In America's heartland sprawl. From Sandusky sands to Columbus currents. We rolled on, coaster eternal. Hearts hitched high.